The following film does not reflect the views of Rosalie Evans, Monica Martinez, Momena Toki, Mimosa Vu, or any of the others involved. No male genitalia were harmed in the production of this film. Thank you.
And the overinflated stock market plunges into a great depression. A financial panic grips the world.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In the year 2009, the United States was in the midst of a recession. Unemployment rose to 9.8%, 50% of all marriages ended in divorce, and abortion averaged 1.2 million. Environmentally, weather shifted dramatically. Tsunamis, typhoons, and dust storms spread across the world. August 18, 2009, the Androminimus virus struck the Earth, taking exactly 28 days to go global. This pandemic caused complete mutation of the hormone testosterone, primarily affecting the male gender.
All right. This decrease in testosterone caused a massive decrease in male muscle mass and greatly affected the development of male genitalia. You can imagine what this did to the psyche of these young men, and of course old men as well. Prepubescence, all future generations, smaller, weaker, less testosterone. That's what happened. So after a time, sexual intercourse was literally impossible. You could not do that. Penetration with what? So artificial insemination, just like the cows.
With this physiological shift came social development, leading to a virtual flip-flop of the gender roles and preconceptions.
Good evening. My name is Harry Reasoner Lightfoot from the University of Denai. And tonight I'm going to talk about some of the mental effects of the virus known as Androminimus. About 30 years ago, a virus hit the Earth, and within 28 days, the male part of the human species began to suffer some noticeable physiological effects. But over time, we've been able to note some of the psychological effects as well. First of all, the absence of the development of the male genitalia caused some serious problems with reproduction. They were no longer able to impregnate women, so men became only sperm donors, and much of their value in society was diminished. They were known as vehicles of conception. Certainly what happened as the generations of boys were born with micro penises, they came to envy their female counterparts, and there was a complete paradigm shift from the old penis envy to vagina envy. You could see the roots of this beginning really in the 1990s with both of the Bush administrations. Their desire to invade the cradle of civilization and try to destroy it was already showing the animus that men had towards women, because clearly they just wanted to be women but couldn't. Another thing that happened in terms of relationships is love was defined and sex became a moot point. Women didn't need men for sex. They had many other technological advances that were far superior. Relationships then actually improved once sex was taken off the table as one of the stressors, and divorce was no longer a considerable social problem. In fact, the divorce rate dropped annually at the rate of 10 to 15% for the next 20 to 30 years. We've seen it taper off now, and we still have some divorce. But men have proven to be a much better member of the species and their current andro minimus stage.
Along with the physiological hindrances presented by the virus, the male pattern of behavior altered. According to a special report by the Bureau of Justice Statistics, in the year 2000, 5% of women in the United States reported receiving knife wounds, internal injuries, broken bones, and loss of consciousness from their husbands. That is 7,170,000 cases reported. This number decreased dramatically to less than 250,000 cases of domestic violence by the year 2040, due to the mutation in testosterone, and therefore muted aggressive tendencies. Apart from widespread passivity among men, the male gender had other things to occupy their focus. With the male ego suffering from the effects of physical incompetence, men rushed to purchase antidepressants to compensate for their decreasing confidence, and male enhancements to give them a physical boost, despite the obvious lack of effectiveness. But men were not receiving the boosts they sought. The rush in demand in the pharmaceutical industry gave the economy the push it needed to recover.
The andro minimus virus is actually having a positive effect on the recession. If you can see, the demand for medicinal supplements has gone way up, and this in turn has helped the aggregate demand in the entire economy. So we are now increasing our GDP from 2009 until our current 2040 GDP.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. In 2008, former President Barack Obama stood in front of our great nation and declared that the time for change had come. Since then, so much has happened. When the andro minimus virus first struck 30 years ago today, it was perceived as a new plague on humanity, when in fact, it served as quite the contrary. This virus has become our awakening, humanity's second chance. Where our predecessors could only dream of world peace, that dream has become our reality. In the time since the virus swept the world, wars have become a thing of the past, and foreign relations have never been better. The United States economy is thriving. Our unemployment is at a minimum. America is a country of promise once again. In the home, love has been given a new meaning, spreading modesty as a form of courtship and creating lasting, meaningful couplings, resulting in beautiful children. Thus, seldom is abortion needed. Our children can grow up in secure environments, and proud parents can be secure in knowing that our criminal justice system is equipped to handle the few cases of violence we have experienced since andro minimus. The prison system itself has become much more secure, and in prisons, overcrowding and mobs are as rare as the actual committal of criminals. I stand here today on the anniversary of that great event, that blessing in disguise, which has lifted our nation to greatness once again. As your first female president, I urge you to remember that great day as one of progress.